Hey there, it's Jen, and today I am here to share something a little bit different with you. I'm going to make 2 cards today using the new Pink Paisley Auburn Lane collection. And before I get started, I just wanted to show you how many things that are great for card makers from this collection. So first of all, we have this 6x8 paper pad, which it's single-sided. So if you wanted to use one of these as a card base, you totally could. It'll just be a little bit smaller than a standard size card because when you fold it in half, it'll only be 4 inches wide rather than 4 1/4. But you could easily add a little border if you wanted to, or something like that, which I might do. So I'm going to use this paper pad for my card bases, for at least one of them anyway. And then obviously there's letter stickers. You could spell whatever you wanted for a card with those. But there are a lot of die cuts, and there are a bunch that have thankful quotes on them. So this one says, "Thank you so much." This one says, "Thank you." This one says, "You are the best." And this one says, "Thankful." So there are those in there. There's a thanks on the Puffy stickers. On the little sticker pack that you can get, there's "Never Give Up on Your Dreams," which would be great for a graduation kind of card. And there are, let's see, "Give Thanks" or "So Blessed" could be a card. "Thank you" here, "XOXO," "You Make Me Happy." And then there's another "Thank you" here, and another "You Make Me Happy" there. So lots of things on these stickers that could be used for cards. There's also, in the rub-ons, there's a "Thank you" here. And then there's also a "Hello You" and a "Thankful." So those could all be used for cards as well. And then finally on the sticker sheet, there is one on the back that says "Hello You," which I love. And I think "You Make Me Happy" could be one as well. So there's lots of things on here. Oh, and there's this little circle right here that says "Thank you so much." That's kind of hard to see, but so there's lots of things in this collection that you could use for thank you cards especially, but for a variety of different cards. And I just wanted to point that out quickly in case any of you are card makers. And it's pretty for all occasions, but of course, since it has that autumnal feel and we're thinking about Thanksgiving here, there's tons of thank you stuff. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and get started and make 2 simple cards. So as I mentioned, I'm going to use maybe some of the 6x8 papers from the pad as card bases. And I was trying to show you, but it was really quick, that there are some cut aparts in that 6x8 pad that would be perfect for cards as well. So here what I'm doing is I am scoring that card so that it folds and there's 4 1/4 inches on one side, and then the other side is a little bit short, as you can see. So the white shows through. And I'm thinking that that will be fine. I'll just put a border there or something, and that way I can use this as a card base. And I also trimmed it so it was 5 1/2 inches tall, because that's a standard size card, is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I'm going to use that circle that says "Thanks so much," or "Thank you so much," and I decided that I wanted it to have a little border, so I punched a circle out of that black and white patterned paper from the 6x8 pad, and I thought about using it as scallops for the border, but that punch was too big. And then so now I'm looking for something that like a paper I could just add onto the back of that the white inside part to put on my card. And so here I'm measuring up the strip so that it's just the same length as my card, and I'm just going to glue that on the inside so that when the card is closed, you just see that pink stripe, but when you open it, it's still white, so easy to be written on the inside. And what I'm doing right now is searching for a punch. I thought I had a scalloped punch that I could use to put on the border of this, but I didn't, so I guess I just thought I did. So I zoomed in a little bit so you can see me assemble this card. And I'm just trying to figure out how I want to ground that circle. So I know I want it to be at the bottom, and I kind of want it to overhang where that fold is, to call attention to it a little bit, because I'm going to make it into a feature now that the card is shorter. I'm going to just focus on that. So I'm using a little bit of foam adhesive on the back of my circle, and I'm putting it on top of the circle I punched out of the black and white paper.
And here I'm thinking about putting it in the center, but I will end up moving it down. So what I'm doing now is trying to find a strip that I can put across the card that will match and look well with the papers I already have chosen. And I pulled out the die cuts and thought maybe I would use a little banner shape, or I could add some leaves and flowers around there. I found this little kind of book plate looking thing, and I like the way that the circle looked resting on top of that, and there are little holes in the sides of that which I will poke out. They're already punched, but I just need to poke the holes out, and I'm going to use it. It gave me the idea to put a tie around the card to hold it closed. I'm also going to use some of the washi tape that comes along with this collection, so you can see I'm using the copper color here, and I'm just going to use 2 strips of it and I'm following the grid on the background of the paper, and I'm going to use that just kind of as my anchoring lines for that card. And I felt like it just needed something to go across the center there. So here's where I'm just poking out those holes there. You can see them, and I'm just going to find some twine so that I can tie it around the card. So there you have some twine, and I'm just using some stuff I had in my stash. You could use any kind of thread or twine that you wanted. You could probably use a thin ribbon, or if you had a book plate with bigger holes, you could probably use a thicker ribbon if you wanted to. So here I'm just kind of stringing it on, and I don't exactly know how this is going to work yet. I haven't quite decided. I know I want it to tie closed and for you to be able to open it when you open the card, and so I'm just trying to figure out the logistics of that. So what I end up doing is making it so that it ties on the right hand side, and I'm going to pop this piece up so that there's room for the string to kind of flow through it a little bit more easily, because it will have that extra lift. And so I'm just cutting down some foam squares and putting them on the back of the frame. And I didn't put any on the right hand side because that part is going to overhang the part of the card. So I just lined up the edge of the card with the inside edge of that frame. And so here you can see where I'm still kind of playing around with the string a little bit, and here I'm going to tie it on the side to see if that's going to work for me. And I decide that I need to put my string in up through the hole, and now I'm tying it into a bow, and I'm thinking that's going to probably work for what I need. I'm just trying to get a nicer looking bow here, and of course when I untie this I'll have to tie another bow, but that's okay. And now I'm seeing how that circle will fit in there. And I apologize, I'm a little bit out of frame. I zoomed in so you could see better. I'm not used to making card videos, and so I zoomed in a little bit so that you could see what I was working on, but then I wasn't paying close enough attention to where I was on the video. So here I noticed and I moved it up. And you can kind of see that I made the string look like it was going in between those 2 strips of the copper foil. And I like the way that looks. And here I'm just centering that circle. And that's almost going to complete this card. It's very, very simple. I decided to add a little bit of gold color shine. I almost wish I hadn't done this, or maybe just not added that bigger droplet, but it's fine. I did it, and I think it looks kind of cute. So now I'm going to work on my second card, and I decided to use a card base for this one. So I just have a white card base, and I'm going to make this very simple as well. I knew I wanted to use that circular rub-on, and it's kind of like a wreath shape, but it almost looks like it has a painted background. So I'm going to place that onto my card, and I'm just using the back of my scissors to rub it on. You could use a popsicle stick or something. I think it comes with a popsicle stick. And so I'm thinking I want to lay the thanks over that. And as I was playing around with it, I really liked the idea of turning it sideways and having the K go up more into the circle. I wanted to be able to see that entire floral, so I just made the word rest so that the floral part of that rub-on kind of rests in between some of the letters. And so now I'm thinking, let's add a few more florals to this. And so I'm looking through the die cuts, seeing what might be able to be added in easily. And I'm just pulling out a few kind of white and neutral colored flowers so that your focus can remain on the color in the sentiment and in that rub-on. And this was the simplest card to make. It was so easy, so fun, and I think it turned out really cute. I would definitely do something like this again. And so I'm just kind of playing around with the leaves, seeing how I want them to lay. And I'm really liking how this is looking so far. I'm thinking I wanted to add one more flower in, so I decided to get one that had a little bit more color to it. So I grabbed that kind of yellowish one. It's still fairly neutral, and I'm just going to overlap that white flower on top of it. And I did pop up part of the flower, but I wanted it to rest under the word thanks, and so I only put foam on one side of the flower. So one side of each of the white flowers pops up a little bit. And then I'm just going to place the leaves behind, and I am like using my fingernail to pull up the leaves on that a little bit. You can kind of see how they're curled up, and I just used a little bit of glue at the base of the leaf to glue that on. And then I want to put a little leaf on that other flower as well, and I'm trying to decide how I want it to look. I want the leaves to look a little bit different than the other two flowers, and so I'm just kind of playing around with some of the leaves that are in the die cut package, and then I just end up adding these two little leaves. One of them has kind of a darker red color, and I liked the kind of variation that brought in. So that's pretty much done. I just feel like it needs a little bit of grounding, and so what I do is just take my black pen and I draw a few doodled lines and some doodled dots, and I scribbled on the lines to kind of make it look like stitching, and that is going to complete my second card. I'm trying to decide right now if I want to outline the entire card. I decide against it, but I am going to add in some more little dots, and I really, really, really love the way that one turned out. Very simple. So here are both cards, and I decided at this point, my gold color shine is dry, that I wanted to add maybe something a little more. I felt like this card was a little flat, although looking at it now, it could have been fine, just super simple and super plain. But what I end up doing is adding some copper foil rub-ons, those little hearts from the rub-on sheet, and I will add 3 of those onto the front of that card, and then that will be complete. So you can see you can easily whip up a couple of simple thank you cards with this kit. I love this collection. It's gorgeous. You can see that thanks card, even though it could pull fall, it looks very fresh and bright when you put it on the white. And so I really love that this collection is very versatile, can be used for all sorts of occasions and seasons. And here's a closer look at those finished cards. I hope that you've enjoyed. I'll link to all available products in the video description, and be sure to head over to the Pink Paislee blog for more information. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you again very soon.